Alex, it's wonderful to meet you, sir. Thank you for taking a minute out today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. So let's get into your good work. And before we do that, I want to know this. I always ask this in the beginning. 5 years ago, this pandemic was changing our lives, doing so many things to all of us. How did you get through that era, and how has it changed the way that you approach business and life today?
How did I go through it? With great difficulty. I really like working with people in an office, and that sort of robbed me of the opportunity a little bit. Um, in terms of how it changed my perspective, I myself, like my opinion, I really thought what government did was not right. And I personally think it was actually a wake up call in the sense that I realized how fickle um, freedom is and how easily people roll over when the government tries to takes it away from them. So I've always been, again, personally, somewhat of a libertarian, believe in individual responsibility and all that. But that sort of cemented my thought process around that. So it's a controversial topic.
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying. I think there was a lot of indiscrepancies happening at that point. So let's get into exactly what you do as an entrepreneur, as a pioneer in AI. I want to ask you this. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of 12-year-olds at a grade school. It's career day, and one of the kids wants to know what you do for a living. How do you
Yeah.
answer that child?
We help people turn their ideas and vision into actual businesses and products. So just like the 12-year-old kid that you mentioned, my kids have a lot of ideas. My daughter, I have a 4-year-old. She's always dreaming up things. And the only tool that she has available to her to bring those to life is actually crayons and paper. So essentially, this is that for adults. It is a way for people to type in their idea, whatever they are envisioning, and turning it into a fully functioning website, web app, mobile app, whatever you want to build. And that's sort of the core of what I'm doing. I think of our company's mission is I think of it as David versus Goliath. So I think of establishment and existing players in different industries as Goliath, established players. And there are a lot of people with vision and ideas out there, and they are my Davids. And I try to be the slingshot for them. So everything we do is a slingshot for the Davids out there.
So when you were 12 years old, or you were at that young point in your life, what was your dream job? What did you want to be when you grew up?
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a physicist. So, and yeah, I mean, I wasn't into business. My parents were not business oriented, they were academic. So my goal was growing up, even when I was 5. If you ask me what I wanted to do, I was like, I want to grow up, become a physicist, become a scientist, move to America. So that's sort of what I was dreaming of
Where
when I
were
was
you
a kid.
born? Where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Iran, north of Iran. Yeah.
So, with your parents being teachers, what were the foundational elements that were the seeds that were planted that made you want to come to America, be a physicist, and to chart this path that you're on now?
Yeah, I mean, my parents really prioritized academics, math, and science. My dad was a physics teacher, and from a young age, I mean, my dad was essentially my teacher. I went to school, but didn't really have to, and I skipped a lot of classes because my dad would was essentially homeschooling me while I was going to school. Um, and that sort of built a foundation. I still, even though I'm in business, I crossed the Rubicon about 16, 17 years ago and became an entrepreneur. But before that, I really wasn't thinking about becoming an entrepreneur business. In fact, my dad had this thing that he looked down a little bit on business. It was like, he put, science and academic thinking on top of business. So it was a change for me. And I crossed the Rubicon, and sometimes I look back, I'm like, and I mean, I got my PhD and I worked at NASA for 2 years as a scientist. I published research papers and stuff like that. it I am not, even to this day, I'm not sure if I made the right decision by going into business. I am not necessarily money motivated a lot of times. I like the intellectual challenge of being a scientist and working on brand new problems. So it was a little bit of transition for me. That was years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So who's been your hero? Who's been that inspirational force that's allowed you to evolve into who you are today?
Um, I want to say that it's not a single person, but I really like, for example, I read biographies of Da Vinci, of Thomas Edison, you know, Vanderbilt, Rockefeller. So I really like reading biographies on history. So those were the early inspirations, believe it or not. And then also at the time I was living in Silicon Valley, I lived in San Francisco at the time. And sort of through osmosis, um, I sort of decided to try my hand at entrepreneurship. And the thing about entrepreneurship is once you become an entrepreneur, it comes with a lot of problems, but also it is very rewarding in the sense that you are all of a sudden in charge of your own destiny. So what you do fully dictates how your life will be. And that's a feeling that you cannot let go once you experience it. And that's probably why once I crossed the Rubicon, I never went back.
So Famous AI is wonderful. When you get in there, you just instantly, almost like a search engine, type what you're wanting to go after. It's very simple, very intuitive. How did you come up with this idea? How did you evolve to this point of kind of simplifying someone's ideas into something that can become tangible?
Yeah. So it wasn't overnight at all. So the way to think about it, and I did this in 2007. Uh, I started an an app studio when I saw the app movement, and we were early. I came to the conclusion that you don't have to have clarity of vision when you start something. In fact, all you have to determine is are you in the right space or not, and then start experimenting. So I think of companies as sort of my mad scientist lab, and I play with a lot of ideas. This company did not start as a AI app builder at all. This company went through when I saw AI for the first time, and I had played with AI over the years. I actually played with neural nets in grad school, and then in 2015, I tried building an AI product, believe it or not, using IBM Watson, which was definitely not ready, so I abandoned the project. Um, but in 2023, when I saw ChatGPT, and I was sort of like not paying attention to the AI for a few years, once I saw ChatGPT, I realized that there's a huge transformation is happening. Okay. So then when you see the way my method to entrepreneurship is that I identify the general area of opportunity, in this case, AI apps. That's where I decided to go. And then I go in there and launch products. And when you launch and you get feedback from the market through the act of doing, you actually learn things and new ideas come to you, and then you launch them and evolve. So we the first product we launched that got traction was actually Deal.ai, and that was a an app platform, AI app platform. It is still one of our largest products to this day. A lot of users, tens of thousands of users, in fact, use it. Um, and 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 inside that, we were building AI apps. And then at some point, we launched an app that built customized apps. And that got traction. And when I saw that, I'm like, wait a second, there's something here. People don't just want pre built AI apps, they want to build their own. It's kind of obvious in the hindsight, but it wasn't obvious without me doing that, all those steps beforehand. And then once I saw that, I'm like, okay, so, and the technology was, I got lucky a little bit. The technology to be able to do that was just getting there. So I broke it out, and then we launched Famous.ai, and that became our dominant, largest product. So I'm not, I can't say I had the vision like ahead of time and I was imagining it. It just I placed myself in the right area of opportunity, and through the act of doing things that are obvious in the hindsight became obvious once I hit somewhere close to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. And in the realm of AI, we've seen all these developments in technology and in computing, but AI is definitely blew Moore's law out of the water. It is
Mhm.
rapidly advancing every single day. Where are you at with AI, with the safety and the future? Are you nervous about where it can go? How do you feel about AI at this point in 2025?
I am very nervous. So there is a cult of AI bros that always paint this, you know, utopian vision of how AI is going to help all of us and it's going to serve us, and we're all going to be just sitting and playing video games and eating whatever food, and AI is going to take care of us. I can't point a single technology in history, breakthrough technology, that didn't create violent shifts in society. Like, go back to, bronze, steel, gunpowder, computing, internet, industrial revolution before that, like anything that we did, it just had violent shifts. Okay. And it means pain and suffering for some people and massive down, like essentially benefits to other people. Now, is net positive for all those changes, net? Um, you can argue, yes, over time, standards of living and all that has improved. So, in aggregate, the society historically has benefited. But is it granted that that's going to be the case? I'm not sure. I don't know. There's no laws of physics that says that is always the case. Um, and some people will benefit. A lot of people will suffer, unfortunately. And there's this one also has the potential of kind of like nuclear weapons, has the potential of going rogue. Um, and it doesn't even require a rogue actor, human actor. It may be just, it may go rogue on its own, which is something we have never experienced. So I don't buy into the ultra utopian view of AI. Having said that, I divide my thoughts throughout the day. I put them into two buckets: things that I can do something about, things that I can't outside my control. So this would be like the macro idea of what happens with AI is in the bucket of things that I probably cannot control. What I can control is there are definitely a lot of positive applications for AI, and data. And to me, the biggest opportunity is that it allows people to actually execute ideas, and it's like David's slingshot essentially. And that's what I focus on. I'm like, maybe the world, I don't know what happens to the world, but I know what I can do at a micro level. I can create tools that help people in particular scenarios. And that's what I'm focusing on. And I try to do my thing. The way I think about it is like, macro thoughts about the world are interesting, maybe intellectually, but end of the day, if each one of us decide to do the right thing at a micro level, that's how the world becomes a better place. So I'm like, I'm going to do my best to make the best out of it.
So, what gets you up every day to be the best entrepreneur you can be, to develop this technology, take care of the end user, take care of your own soul? What is that energy for you every day?
A lot of it comes from seeing David's succeed. So essentially, when I see someone with very small budget, um, normal people are not capitalized by institutional funding, small teams or solopreneur. When I see them use our tool to actually build something useful, that's what actually gets me motivated. And I have a test for that in my brain, because I really don't want to do things that don't have a reason for existence. And the test is very simple. Sometimes when I'm confused myself, I unconfuse myself by asking myself this question. I ask myself, if my service disappears today, like it, we shut down the servers, how many people are gonna suffer from it, like complain about it? Okay. And for a lot of entrepreneurs, the answer is not that many, or maybe nobody. Okay. And that's when I tell them, hey, you are better than that, and you can think deeper than that. So rethink your product idea. In our case, it's going to create like a lot of people rely on our services. Hundreds of thousands of projects are built on us. Many people have used our product to build SaaS solutions that have their own customers. So it's gonna the ripple effect of that will be insane, and that's what gets me going. I'm like, I cannot fail all these people. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So, and it's a little bit like having a family. You cannot fail your family. Once you build a product that actually has customers that rely on that product, it's the same thing. You cannot fail your customers. And that is to me the most motivating thing. I don't maximize for fun or pleasure or whatever. Actually, pretty, I want to say, stoic in that sense. I think fun is overrated. What I maximize for is like, okay, so I have a community I need to take care of. I gotta I gotta do this. So that's what gets me up every day.
So if you had a dream tonight, ran into that 13-year-old version of you, and you like gave that version you a book that was your life,
Mhm.
and that 13-year-old version's kind of looking through it and like what's going on here, and you're like, that's how my life turned out. Would that version of you believe it?
13-year-old, no, probably no. Although I was very ambitious when I was young, but not business wise. So I always thought, like growing up, I always thought I would grow up and become a scientist. So so
Yeah.
like, wait, what happened to you? Maybe the 13-year-old would say, what happened to you? I thought you were going to be a physicist. What
Yeah.
happened to this? Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, what advice would you give? What advice would you give that young version of you?
um, Experiment faster. So one of the things that happens to young people, it doesn't happen to me anymore because I fully ignore everyone's opinion, unless they are very select few. Okay? A very select few I listen to fully. The majority of people I fully ignore their opinion. Okay, fully. Not even like, I don't even listen. I call it my internal paper shredder.
Yeah.
So I have two in my ears, and nonsense comes in, gets shredded, doesn't even hit my brain.
Yeah.
So the advice I would give myself is that pick the few that you want to listen to, and pick those people wisely and listen to them fully. And then 99% of everything else you hear, ignore. Whether it's someone around you or it's in the media or whatever you're reading, just ignore and do your own analysis. Essentially, I think when I was younger, I really listened to my first venture. I really listened, and it was successful. My first venture was a huge success, but I it could have been a much bigger, better success if I had the maturity that I have right now, and I listened to people in Silicon Valley that were talking in my ears all the time. If I ignored those talks, it would have been much better. So my advice to younger myself is that no matter what you do in life, it's okay to listen to people. It's actually great to listen to people as long as those people are actually wise people, and then ignore the noise at all times.
Yeah. So of everything that you've done, accomplished, and evolved to at this point in your life, what are you ultimately the happiest about?
Um, I want to say the happiest personally, my family. From a business perspective, um, it's the community that was created, and this is something that I didn't really do in my first venture because it was all about, I think I still see it in tech companies, especially the ones coming out of San Francisco or Silicon Valley or places like that. um, they are very much around, they want to dominate. They're like, I'm dominating. I'll have the best whatever. I'm gonna throw $500 billion into data centers and like have the fucking, excuse my French, you can blip it out.
You're good.
Um, you will have the largest data center that has the most powerful AI model, and they ignore the fact that the product is not just a piece of software or hardware, it is the community that it builds. So to answer your question, the thing I'm the most proud of is when I do a Zoom, I send an email to my customers and say, hey, we're doing a live training Zoom or whatever. A lot of people show up and they know our names and they are involved in the community. They know each other. Like that is what I'm proud of. The community of actual humans and users who use our product. And that's, to me, it's like I said, it's like kind of like an extended family. And that's what I like about it. I'm proud of it.
Absolutely. So at the end of the day, Alex, everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, clients, colleagues, everyone that you know, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Uh, a hard charging, I want to say, because people around, I work pretty much every waking hour, and like a essentially a nonstop driver of this machine. And I think from outside perspective, people would say Alex is crazy. He's like, why do we have to do this today? I'm like, because that frees up our brain to do something else tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
And if you postpone it to tomorrow, well, you're postponing the next thing you're going to do. So the fastest, most agile, most hard driving person they have probably in their circle.
So being in technology, coming from Silicon Valley, I'm curious, what is one of your favorite tech inventions of all time? Whether it was a platform or a piece of software, what do you think has revolutionized things the most or something that you personally love?
Uh, Internet, permissionless web,
Yeah.
the ability that people can exchange information almost without permission, is, I think, the most powerful tool that humanity has ever developed.
So if anyone wants to get involved with Famous AI, they want to learn more, any of the good business in your world, where do they go? Where's the best place?
Um, Famous is the best place. They can start for free. They can, I always say, that this is the age of becoming idea machines. Come up with ideas and prompt them and see it come to life. And I spent a lot of energy on that first prompt. I don't know if you tried the product, but if you did, probably it's really impressive what it does with the first message.
Yeah.
And we spent a lot of energy on that because I see entrepreneurs with ideas, but their ideas are fuzzy. And the reason we spend so much energy on that first product generation is that people need to see their idea kind of fleshed out,
Yeah.
to be motivated to continue. So that's sort of what we do.
It's genius. I love it. Absolutely love it. Alex, this has been so good. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. Best of luck with everything.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. Thank you.